Whew, alrighty guys, welcome back to yet another video. So today we're going to be doing an oil and filter change on this Jaguar F-Type. Now there are actually a couple of ways to do this on this car. Most people I've seen actually siphon the oil out of the top. Honestly, that's not really a very thorough oil change. I guess it's easier and it's, faster, but I always like to do my oil changes draining the oil from the very bottom. So I do have the car jacked up on these race ramps. I just picked these up. These are about 12 inches high, so pretty good ground clearance, I gotta say. The backs, I'm just using my Rhino ramps. I did jack up the rear and plop it on here for the time being. Yeah, we're gonna be draining the oil on this thing because this thing has not gotten an oil change for maybe 10,000 miles or more. The previous owner really neglected his car, and so now that I have it, I gotta make up for it. So what I'm gonna be doing is actually removing the under tray down here. There's quite a lot of bolts holding this whole entire thing in, and the oil drain bolt should be around the passenger side. Somewhere around here, it's kind of pointing towards the right side wheel. We have our motor right here. This is where our motor oil is going to go. We're using 0W20, and it does recommend Castrol, which is the oil that I bought. And the oil filter actually sits right under this housing. So we're going to pop this off. It should just be held on by some clips and whatnot. There we go. So the oil filter is going to be right over here, as you can see. I guess this is why people don't like working on Jaguars when it comes to oil changes too. They just prefer to just suction it out from the top. Watch how this whole entire under tray falls on my face. Okay, I got that out. There's one over here. I don't like putting my face right under the bolt because as you're unscrewing it, a lot of crud and like debris is coming out. So good rule of thumb is to just not be directly under it. I think that's everything. Yeah, I was just gonna make sure that all the bolts are out before I start pulling at this thing. Look at this thing. Holy cow, look at how many bolts there are. We were finally able to take down the front under tray. Basically, all these holes you see over here are all the bolts you gotta get rid of. Like literally all around here, and even two on each side, right behind here, next to the wheel. And it also removes part of the lip here. Two of these little bits on the side, so yeah. I guess I know why people don't like doing oil changes on this car because it's just a very rigorous process. So now we can move this tray aside. So taking a look under the car, as you can see, it is pretty clean. Now the drain bolt is still a little further in. This is just the radiator. So we do have to take off this second panel, which is held on by just a few more bolts. But in order to get to this, you do have to remove the front bit just to loosen up the front of this. All right, so second under tray is out. And now we get a good visual under here of everything. So the drain bolt is right over there. I can't really zoom in that far on here, but I'm gonna point to it. Right over there is where the drain bolt is. And we should be able to drain the oil from here. But at least looking underneath the car, it looks pretty good. It's not leaking anywhere. It's pretty dry and clean. The under tray though is a little bit moist from oil, but that is because it's originally had a leak. The leak has already been fixed, but you can see how the oil has kind of splashed all the way up on the guards. I'm gonna try 15, nope, 14, still loose. First time I've ever worked with a 13mm drain bolt. That's a weird size, I gotta say. But I'm gonna just pop that on there. Am I gonna be able to aim this thing? Okay, it came off pretty easily. It wasn't super tight. So, all right, let's see if we can do this nice and clean here. Hopefully my aim is on point. Come on now, come on. Oh, it's coming out. Oh. Woo! Bingo. I gotta say, looking at the overall condition down here, there's no leaks on the gaskets. The gaskets look like they're brand new actually. I did have an oil leak initially on this car from a failed pump, but they ended up changing everything down here. So everything looks pretty much new. Like we got a new belt on here, Continental, got new like gaskets and everything, new hoses as well. So not too bad. The oil is definitely not good. It's just straight black. It is silky smooth. I don't see any sort of particles necessarily in here, which is good. I was afraid that there's gonna be like, metal shavings and whatnot, but no, it looks pretty solid actually. Alrighty, so now that the oil is draining, we're to go ahead and also remove the oil filter. I'm gonna be using a 90mm flute to go over the filter housing. Okay. That's pretty good. All right. Let's try to not spill this here. Whew. So you remove the housing. The oil filter is still in here, which you can just kind of wiggle it out. But try not to pull it so hard where the oil's gonna splash. So just to keep it tidy, I'm gonna just quickly try to, oh my gosh. Oh, there we go. All right, so we have the old oil filter here, and we're gonna install the new one. We have it nicely sealed in plastic. And I'm gonna insert the filter into the housing first. So now we do have to remove the old ring here, which I'm gonna probably need to get a little bit of leverage on. Handy dandy scissors, here we go. I'm gonna just cut it off if I can. There we go. So I get rid of that. And put the new O-ring in here. And you do want to lubricate it with a little bit of oil, but since there's a lot of residual oil on here, you can just reuse that grease on here and just, you know, slather it on. Alrighty, so the oil filter is reinstalled to around 25 newton meters or 18 foot-pounds. Same thing with the drain bolt. You're gonna want to put that back in using about 18 to 20 foot-pounds. It's still dripping, so I'm gonna wait a bit just for the leftover oil to come out. But yeah, I'm gonna put that in with around, I'm gonna say 19 foot-pound as like a safety amount. Also, the battery just died on this car once again. I tried to turn on the dash or open the trunk, it wasn't working. And I do have a warning saying low battery, but that's because I let this car sit here for a few weeks. Alrighty, now it is time to top up our oil with 7 quarts or 6.9 quarts. And here we go. Let's hope I don't spill this thing. I love this super wide funnel. It makes it really quick where you can just put a whole pool in here and it goes in right away. And that's about right. So that's about 7 quarts. Now we can close up the cap. I'm gonna give the area a little bit of a wipe down from any spillage. Let's clean it up nice and pretty. We can take our engine cover, just pop it back on. So it goes on about this way. Yeah, there's a couple of tabs, so you just have to line it up with the tabs. Okay. Alrighty, so the oil change has been successfully completed on the Jaguar. All the bolts went on the bottom pretty seamlessly, and everything is just good to go. So yeah, I just saved myself like 500 bucks because the last time I got a quote for an oil change on this car at the dealership was $500, which is ridiculous for any car, to be honest. It's not like this process is like crazy. It's definitely a little bit more rigorous, so to speak, but I don't think it should be anywhere beyond like 200 bucks. Yeah, that is how you do an oil change on the Jaguar F-Type. You could siphon the oil out from the top, but personally, I like to drain it from the bottom to get a more cleaner flush. Everything will be in the description below if you guys want to get the oil, the filter, any of the parts and all the torque specs. So if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.